Good evening, champ fans, and welcome to game week 3 in the CMO 102 All Star Atlantic League. We may not be the longest running or the most competitive in terms of legacy, but I reckon we're doing a pretty good job at being a little bit innovative with this whole CMO 102 20-year-old game thing. Duggan here, taking you into game week 3. And we've only had 2 rounds of fixtures so far, but there are some really strong themes emerging. We've definitely got a bunch of teams at the top that have looked really, really impressive in Bison's, Short Pump Sloths and Alcatraz FC. And similarly, we've got 4 teams down the bottom who are really struggling early doors as they look to get something going. The Dandies, El Loco Fire, Memphis Rains, and Iowa Steam Pigs have all one thing in common, which is that they're not scoring an awful lot and they're conceding a hell of a lot in return. And amongst that, we've got kind of the middle bunch of teams that have kind of taken points off people, but have also not looked massively impressive. And we'll see how they get on tonight in game week 3. Good evening to Dimble, Hopkins, Alex. Appreciate you being here, my man, and also the Sloth man as well. And let's just have a little look. We've seen that overall league table of all 12 teams, but let's just have a little look at what the conferences look like. Remember, in the All Stars, we have 3 conferences going from east to central to west. And in the Eastern Conference, we have the St. Domingo's Bisons, Tato's Bisons, who are romping at the minute with 9 goals scored and 2 goals conceded. Scotty Sadler, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Looking to maybe enter into some negotiations for Maxim Segalko, so say the back pages of the Sunday papers from El Loco. Memphis Rains haven't really got off the mark. Vikings and Drivetrain have taken points. Drivetrain, who have been everybody's annoyance in testing with not conceding many goals at all. And St. Domingo's, again, kind of running away with it amongst the 12 teams, but also in their division. Over at the Central, Jimmy Hopkins, the king of core comms, and is he rolling back the years in terms of CMO 1 or 2? He sits top of the league in the Central with no goals conceded, and that really solid old school Dragons classic 271 doing bits for him, and he goes unchanged again tonight. This 4 look absolutely massive. Dandies and El Logo Fire both rooted on 0 points. And remember, it doesn't really matter where any of these teams are in relation to the other 2 divisions, just kind of icing on the cake. What you don't want to be is one of the 4 worst teams. But as long as you're within touching distance of your team that's top, then you have a chance of automatic playoff qualification. Last but not least, over to the West. Definitely the most interesting conference, I think. We've got the Steam Pigs, who are yet to get off the mark, the only team in the Western Conference to do so, and the Gators and Des Moines on 3. Des Moines, Horsey's Des Moines, really keeping up that interesting horsey factor that is present in all of these teams and being competitive so far. Who'd have thought the Short Pump Sloths, 2 out of 2 so far, having beat the Steam Pigs, having beat the Dandies, and not just beat them, but not conceded with the 3 behind the 1. And Andrei Shevchenko is off to a flyer with 4 goals inside 2 games. So we have had a couple of little shouts for people that don't necessarily want to go late tonight. So I think I'd quite like to save Bisons and Des Moines because I think that's going to be a little bit of a tasty game. So we have Hopkins is playing Jens, who wants to go a little bit later. Shall we go with a bit of Mike Savage and a bit of Scott? Even to Dan in the chat, I haven't seen or heard from Savage, so we'll just leave him a little bit later. I'm running out of teams now. Jimmy needs the King of Core-Comms title removing unless he gets his lovely Welsh horse on Core-Comms at some point. Yeah, he's yet to make his debut on the All Stars commentary. He's probably a fair shout. Yeah, I think you and Dims, Rob, is a really good place to start. It's a really interesting game and an interesting formation that Rob Sloth continues with. In terms of last match, there's just one change. Roberto, who has been a talismanic figure for Rob Sloth across all iterations of CMO 1 or 2 that Rob has played in, is injured. It's only minor. He's out for 10 days. And just remember, the save is public access. So unlike some other competitions that we all play in, there's no mystery. You know, we want to demystify the save and allow everybody to kind of engage with it as much as possible. Over at the Pelham Pumas, who are playing that now really famous 3 DMCs with the wingers, which is becoming the dominant formation in Super League in terms of being competitive. And in terms of changes, well, Dimble doesn't make any, and Ronaldinho in that AMC position behind Montella and Clivert looks absolutely lethal. Interesting to see Mike Duff here at MR. Hasn't really had a massive run in competitive CMO 1 or 2 at MR, but does play there tonight, and he's looking fairly okay so far with a 1 assist inside 2 games. And Dimble will be the sort of manager who is definitely going to give him, 8, 9, 10 games before making any rash decisions. This could be goals, I reckon, but let me know what you think in the chat as game week 3 kicks off. Remember, if it's a draw after 90 minutes, we go to golden goal, and only if it's a draw after 120 minutes do the shares get spoiled, or the spoils get shared, rather. We get underway nice and early. Sally Hamditch getting involved there. A minute gone, but a hell of a lot of text. Then we jump to 17 minutes. Ayala into the book. You all know my thoughts on Ayala. I think he's an absolute liability. 24 minutes, and now Pelham's starting to wrestle a little bit of control in this game. Ado and Lassisi's name mentioned there. I think that is 2 centre halves in the book for short pub slots, as they now come back into it 40 minutes onwards. Joe Cole tries to put his foot in the game, and I've maybe built that up a little bit too much, expecting goals, and nothing much happened. I think both centre halves are on yellows for short pump, and they are. Nothing really much to write home about there. Gattuso missing the only tackle he's made in the game engine, kind of treating that rather harshly. Game passing this Sloth's team by a little bit at the minute. Not a whole load of time on the ball. Dimble's ratings look average as well, but just a little bit more solid there. And there's something going on in terms of supply being prevented in getting to Vincenzo Montella up top. Dimble rolls the dice on his 1 change of team instructions, which is allowed once any game, not compulsory though. He goes mixed passing and go, and Rob Sloth goes as is until 60, and we nearly get to 60 straight away. We get 57 minutes, 58 minutes, big save from Oliver Kahn, and Alex Kenny is not amused by my 10 minutes of commentary so far and wants George back from Swemp. I'm not sure anybody does, mate. I think you're in the minority of wanting that to happen. We go over to Pelham. No condition issues really, but again, the ratings haven't changed, and they don't look like a side that are in control of this game at the minute. Could be anyone's. And we go over to Short Plump with the Goochland tactic. Oliver Kahn with that 8, a massive save just before the 60-minute break. If you're superstitious like Steve Wright, you would have been expecting that save not to be made and for the goal to go in on the click. Gattuso's still on a low rating, the 60-minute mark. You'd maybe wonder whether one of these 3 rather gets put up top and just tries to get a few more bodies up that kind of block that Dimble is executing quite well at the minute. Over to Dimble, he's going Agahawa for Ado. Where's Ado? And swap with Duff. Going on for Clivert. Fairly solid changes there, freshening them up. He has used this Mike Duff at the MC before, and there's no reason why it shouldn't work. Deco off for Trezeguet. Where's Deco at? A season 1 Deco, by the way, which you don't really see him in competitive champ. Can't remember seeing him ever really in season 1. Deco for Trezeguet, 3 up top. D'Alessandro for Kerr. Back in the middle. Wing backs, please. And arrows up. There we go. Rob, if you could just confirm whether you want the AM line arrows on your DML, DMR, or whether you just want them to halfway. And you can kind of see Rob just trying to exert a little bit of control in the middle of the pitch here against those 3 DMCs. In Super League, where we have seen that 3 DMC, I can't say that tonight, lads, where we haven't seen that 3 DMC line control the game as much, has been to teams that have played either that kind of triangle of MCs, or they've had the 3 across the middle and have just controlled the ball a little bit more. We'll see if it yields results here. So remember that Dimble has used his team instructions change. Rob hasn't, and we will go until 90 minutes. Now, the first goal is going to be massive. Montella on the volley. Oliver Kahn again, keeping that 8 rating up. You think he's on for a man of the match performance at this moment in time. If he keeps that clean sheet, Ronaldinho puts it over. Kaladze now exerting his influence on this game. Trezeguet with a mazy run. We will slow this down if we get to 85 minutes and it's still nils each. Ronaldinho now getting into it. Kaladze again, Joe Cole. And there is the goal. Lissisi from across, I think, from Joe Cole. Will that be enough to get the 3 points for Pelham, which would take them on to 7 points? Hoopier snuffs out the pass. It's what Dimble wants to see. Mocker puts it wide from long range, and we're going to have our first 3 points of the night with a win in the clean sheet from Pelham. Ayala now, Anderson managed to keep on the pitch after going into the book early. Trezeguet, Mocker, Smith, Kaladze with a massive tackle. Kaladze there doing his bit for his manager, and that is a really solid 1-0 win. This definitely didn't feel as though it was Pelham's game in the first half, but those changes in the team instructions, and probably to be fair to Rob, as is his nature, trying to go for it a little bit more. Roy Keane, man of the match performance, and you know what? If this isn't a league where people would rather win than draw, then we're not doing it right. I don't think. Pelham stats look absolutely, solid, if unspectacular, but you take those away from home every day of the week. Joe Cole struggling there fitness-wise, but well played, Dimble. Roy Keane, man of the match performance, making 10 out of his 14 tackles. And Ayala, despite the yellow card, actually doing his bit at the back there. Just a moment of class from Joe Cole to set up Lissisi. And we have our first 3 points of the night. Steve wants to be kept late, so we shall go over to... We'll do me and Dan, I think. And the New York Dandies manager has really changed it up tonight. If this isn't the place for experimentation, then I don't know where is. With a 2-2-2 and then 3 AMCs and his boy Constantinu up top, trying to see if this kind of DMC out to MLMR can yield a few more better results, and just trying to be really solid and block through the middle. Dandies without a point and without a goal, having conceded 5 across 2 games. Bit of a keeper crisis in that Chiotis conceded 3 on debut, and then Mark Poom, an average rating of a 4 on debut. Rob asking if I finally lost it. Dimble saying, is that Alf? Mega Horse is saying the league is where the fun is. I absolutely agree, mate. I want to be as far away from the pressure that we were all under from streaming and managing in the Super League. That was intense, mate. So wanted to feel like a different beast. And if I get bummed every week, then so be it. We go over to the Blackwater Gators, who got off the mark in terms of points last time out with a really solid 3-1 win against the Des Moines Demons, who prior to that point had looked really impressive in their opening game. They are conceding though, so there is hope for that Dandy side. And this now famous Kitchen Dan for kind of adapted iodine 4-1-3-2 instead of the DLDR. You've got the wing backs, and then instead of the 2 up top, you've got Totti in the hole there. Interestingly, I've kind of always had Dan's number in competitive champ. Kind of Dragons used to hand out a fair old edition of arse kickings to the Gazelles when he was in for a short period, but we'll see what happens here. Jeremy's is tackled there. Cafu with a chance, Constantinu with a chance, but Buffon is at the back. If there's one keeper you want there on 1-on-1 situations, it is Gianluigi Buffon, and there is Jens Jeremy's getting his first ever goal for the New York Dandies. Who'd have thought that would have been a coupon buster if you had a first goal scorer, I bet, on tonight. Agat hits the woodwork and Chiotis gets it clear. And there is a big injury for the Gators. Ruud van Nistelrooy injured. I'm just going to put on Mark Viduka, and in the absence of Dan commenting, I haven't seen him in the chat tonight, so we'll just give him a couple of minutes, especially there we go. Cheers, Dan, I appreciate that, mate. And we will see if that gets us to half time. Gators have had their fair share of chances. Dandy's back line is holding out so far, but there is Mark Viduka. What a sub, and what a time to get the goal going into half time. It is ones each going in there. Solid in the kind of middle of the park from the Gators, as you'd expect as the home team in that formation with 3 MCs rather, and Totti and Van Nistelrooy, the only one struggling, maybe being blocked out in terms of that DMC line from the Dandies. Really interesting half for the neutral, I felt, and Dan goes as is. And again, much like kind of the other games that we've had so far from the Dandies, just that final third of the pitch, nowhere near as strong as the kind of back line. And we will see what happens until 60. Gators now, Totti blasted at the top corner. Totti could have really turned the game around either side of half time. Robin with a double chance. Viduka's through, and Viduka puts it wide. End-to-end stuff, this. Really, really interesting. We'll go over to Gators first of all, as the streaming manager is on chat, and ratings look very, very solid at the back. In terms of conditions, nothing to really worry about. 85% in Rui Costa being the lowest that Dan has to look at. You probably wouldn't change anything. I think the Gators look fairly solid. What will we do? I think we will go with, we'll go Cambiaso in there, Ferguson in there, and we will give Martin Palermo. Oh, no, we won't. No, we won't. Yeah, we'll just do that, I reckon. Oh, fuck it. Let's put Martin Palermo on. Give him a run out. Gators are playing on with no change, and the Dandies have made a couple of personnel changes and a little bit of a tactic shift to see if they can get their first points of the season. Feels very, very Gators heavy. Viduka with lots of chats, and there is Veron, who puts the Gators 2-1 up going into the final whistle. Big win for the Gators. Looked in control really from the second that they equalised, but prior to that, we're on the back foot a little bit, and it's a Gianluigi Buffon man of the match performance. Congratulations to Dan. Veron and Gat, Decoa, Cordoba, Buffon, all doing what he needs them to do. And again, just really unimpressive from the final third of the Dandies, although they did score. So that is a start. And yeah, Gators put 2 back-to-back wins together. What have we got now? St. Domingos, there we go. We'll go with the Tato's St. Domingos. Yeah, Dan just saying that the Ruud van Nistelrooy sub made him so much better. I did feel like that reading the chat. Good evening, Mike. Hope you're well, mate, on this Sunday. Over to the Bisons, and this is how we look now. You know, this is now what Tato plays with a lot of the players that Tato's playing, and you know, he's in it to win it, which is absolutely fair enough, if a little bit boring. But we will go and see what he does tonight. Over to the Des Moines Demons, who stay very much in line with how they've played. Couple of little changes with Exteberia coming onto the bench for, I believe, Jari Lippmanen. This Domingos at Wicket is absolutely horrific. Tato, if you're in the chat, mate, let us know where you've got the kind of inspiration for that from as we kick off. Dyer now getting a chance. Rossini into the book after 9 minutes. Dyer can't control it, and Hussein now. Domingos are just trying to kind of wangle the control. Somebody got a, how did he miss? Jacques to Hussein to Tomasi. Jacques chips it in. Thuram is absolutely everywhere in this text early doors. And there is a big injury from Bison colours, mate. Okay. Zambrotta is injured on 29 minutes. I am probably guessing it's going to be either Del Piero or Amoroso. And Jacques out to MR, but we'll just have a little hang on and see what he wants to do. Bisons have been really impressive. Definitely the standout team of the whole thing so far, I would say. And if they were to win tonight, it would put them on 3 out of 3, which is really unprecedented across any form of competitive champ, to be totally honest with you. Tato, I imagine it's going to be Jacques to MR and then just your choice of AMC. Excellent, lovely, perfect. Thank you very much, my man. I appreciate that. Amoroso, who has got a decent pedigree of being really good season 1 in competitive champ. Now we will go until half time. First goal you feel might be a little bit crucial. Johnny Halliday, who is the early front runner for the cult hero of the All Stars. Vieira now just trying to get into the middle of the park and trying to hold the ball and do bits for Des Moines. 48 minutes players. Rossini's in there. Big save from Toldo, a player that Tato knows well. Very, very even this game. And both sides with 3 shots, but only 2 on target for Des Moines and 1 on target for St. Domingos. Ratings-wise, Yepes doing bits. And Simkoviak not doing bits with the captain's armband. Really, really unusual performance for him. Over to the Domingos, Pagluca, who is not a keeper that many people would be fancying to be starting in season 1, but he's absolutely done the business so far this season for St. Domingos and looks really, really solid. Mendieta quiet in terms of how you'd maybe expect him to be dominating the ball and kind of putting tackles in, and certainly Domingo not really creating as much as they have done previously. Nice and quick changes from the boys, both playing till 60, no team instruction changes, and we will roll. Simkoviak whips it in, back-to-back corners there from Des Moines. You feel as though they're just cranking up the pressure. Sol Campbell goes into the book. It would be typical Bisons to go and score up the other end despite being under pressure. There is Jacques Amoroso. Toldo's back in there. Great game for the neutral this. Vieira goes into the book. 56 minutes played. A hell of a lot of text since the half-time whistle. Tamati feeding a high ball forward. We jumped to 69 minutes. Brilliant save from Toldo was the last comment. This is going to be a battle of the keepers, this, or a battle of the big men up top, and see who takes their chances. Simkoviak still on a 5, 77% there. Maybe the game's just passing his legs by at the minute. We'll see what Dan wants to do. Lots of options on the bench with Joseba Exabria atop of a couple of the individual player rating charts at the minute. Just while we wait for the subs from the boys, for anybody that kind of isn't directly involved in the league, in the next week, we probably should have a little bit of a website up and running. I'm lucky to be on half term over the next fortnight, so a little bit of admin getting it over the line. Hopefully we'll have a nice snazzy website done in the next couple of days, where Horse is kindly going to keep a week-to-week player and team stats page, which is a big ask and a big effort, which we're very grateful for. Just waiting on the boys to, there we go. Tato is the first one in with these changes. Extend my wing back arrows all the way at the top. They're ML and MR, so just clarify if that's what you meant, Tato. Bring on Pierre for Hussein. Pierre, who is doing bits in the small horse. He's really scoring for fun in the small horse league at the minute. Yeah, it was absolutely unreal. And then we'll go over to the Des Moines Demons. Scissor off for Teneto. Swap with Vieira. Estebiria for Marcelinho Colioca. And a forward arrow there. Excellent. Lovely. Brilliant. So Des Moines are going for it, and Domingos are going for it. Nailed on for a 0-0, you'd expect. Dyer getting in there. Teneto getting in there. The Des Moines look on top. Free kick. Slight tweaks from Horsey, or is it the wingers from Domingos just bombing on that little bit more, is opening up a bit of that space. Amoroso now, Jacques Extebiria in there. That'll be putting him again top of that table in terms of the tackles per game and passes per game. He is amongst it straight away. Campbell, who's on a book and gets in there, intervenes. Jacques swerving shot and grazes the crossbar, and we could be heading to golden goal here unless anything happens. Hellidy, Dyer, Hellidy hits it low, and again a big save from the keeper. Jacques, is there a sucker punch here from Domingos Bisons? Dyer in there, Giggs, Hellidy with a tactical foul, and we get to the 90-minute mark. And a very, very even game. Great watch this for the neutral, by the way. And ratings have significantly improved for that Des Moines side since the 60-minute mark. You probably only say that really Cardozo is struggling to affect the game up top. You maybe a bit of time for your hire. And over at the Bisons, just not great, although Pagliuca is on a 9, as well as Campbell and Tamati. You can really draw a trend line that if Tato's tacklers are doing well on his side, the rest of his side is going to be doing well. It's built around that whole idea of people making tackles and people winning headers. Dimble just saying 30 minutes more Hellidy is a dream. Yeah, I think we've got to think about what the best kind of like theme song for Hellidy would be. In terms of a kind of a cult following song. The boys are probably just looking at the ratings and just trying to work out whether they stick or twist. Des Moines have got the one change left, so have Domingos Bisons, and neither team have changed their team instructions, so that is also an option available to them. Remember that we won't make any changes at 105. It will be shit or bust at 90 minutes, really, and we'll play through until the 105. Bisons push Mendieta up to MC, potentially to get him into the game that little bit more. Del Piero on for Rossini and roll. And Des Moines do introduce you higher for Cardozo up top. And we see what happens now. Remember, golden goal. If nothing else, one goal will let highway to Hellidy is a great shout. Great shout, Mike Savage. Excellent. Especially Des Moines Demons, highway to Hellidy, all that sort of stuff. That's very, very good. Get to half time, nothing much has changed. Des Moines edging it now, definitely in terms of ratings. Dominguez Bison's just the back line really holding on, and we'll see what happens in this last 10 minutes. Del Piero, Amoroso, Mendieta smashes it in low, hits the post and goes wide. Jacques now feels very Bison's heavy this, and there is Pierre, who carries over his small horse form into the All-Stars, and with a massive header, he puts the Domingos Bisons 3 out of 3, and another clean sheet for them. Unlucky horse, but that was a brilliant 1-0 for the neutral, and it is the Bisons who take home the 3 points, and the Demons playing, an inventive players and a couple of unusual players in there, again continue to be competitive above what people would probably expect for the players that they've got out. Savage is here, so we are going to go with a local fire versus the Detroit Drivetrain, and talking about carrying over Super League form into the All-Stars. Drivetrain are definitely one of those teams. Savage has been ravaged. Ravaged, that's nice. Savage has been ravaged by injuries and suspensions in the Super League, and those carry over into the All-Stars. This is how he goes tonight. Slight tweak in personnel. Walker comes into the middle. Chris Perry comes in, and also 2 arrows onto the AMCs. Over to the El Loco Fire. Scotty, can you just remind me if you wanted arrows on the 2 AMCs, if you're there, my man? And just in case you're not there, I shall just check. If you have specified that in your submission, just while we wait. El Loco Fire, one of those teams that have struggled so far this season. They are, again, like the Dandies and like the Steam Pigs, yet to get off the mark. As it is, mate, brilliant. And Zinedine Zidane comes in, and Ronaldo comes in up top for Maxim Segalko. And if the papers are to be believed, he is on his way out of El Loco after 2 games. But what price will be paid for him will remain to be seen. Big game this for El Loco, home advantage. You think that they will fancy this against the depleted Drivetrain. Corner kick for the Drivetrain. Dalvecchio in there. Henri with a big chance, who is flying in the Super League at the moment. Zidane. Can Scott get a tune out of Zidane when many people have failed before him? Figo steps in and drifts it over. And there is Nicky Ferenko. Felt as though that was a Zidane assist in terms of the text, I must say. Ronaldo now back in there, and Milevski missed a chance. Could have put them 2-0 up at half time. Really solid from El Loco Fire, that making a solid Drivetrain side look a little bit ordinary, potentially as a result of the players that they're missing. But something has clicked, and there it is, a Zinedine Zidane assist. It felt that way in the text, and his man is having an impact. A lot of love there from Horsey and also from Dimble. Nice Drivetrain colours, 2 great kits. Yeah, I do. This reminds me of kind of early 2000s Roma. No, early kind of like 2009, 2010 Roma. That orange and black. When we all had bodies that could deal with a skin tight Kappa shirt. Be an absolute embarrassment now. Over to Drivetrain, just 5s there from some couple of key tackles, a couple of key tacklers rather, who aren't really doing their bit for their team. Scotty goes as is, and we'll just bring Mike up specifically because he is chasing the game a little bit at half time. No real condition issues. And again, it is those players that you'd be expecting, particularly around this DM line. Nicky Ferenko and Zidane doing the business against Scally and Janachetta so far, but not much on the bench to bring on in terms of improving the quality of that. Boyan, naturally a tackling MC, who they're without tonight, does make a big difference when you haven't got him in there. Yeah, conditions is a great word. I think we need to get that into the lexicon of the All-Stars. Both managers go as is until 60 minutes, and Drivetrain will be expecting to be a little bit better. Rivaldo in there with Henri with the rebound, but can't quite put it in. Logo Fire are coming back into it now with a little bit more of the ball. Drivetrain have certainly felt on top since the half time, despite the fact that nothing's changed. Mike maintaining an Ian Edwards-like stoicism in terms of his faith with the team. Nothing really for Scott to be concerned about there in terms of changing anything up. Does he give Maxim Segalko one last swan song for 30 minutes? We shall see. Over the drivetrain, Scally's 5 has been turned into a 6. Janachera's picked up a yellow card. 5 and a yellow card usually means a red, and Uliano has not done any better than he was doing at half time. Good little debut that for Zidane. Assist, and Cabello comes in. Ronaldo drops to AMC, and Cabello goes up top. Cabello, a player who I think did bits for Bostock way back when for Scotty, and we'll see. Guessing, given the performance of some of that back line, and also given the scoreline, that there may be a fairly decent message coming through from Savage. So we'll just give him no pressure, mate. Just take your time. Make sure we get it right. Rivaldo and Figo being involved in the text second half, not able to really do anything. Zizi Roberts, who's doing bits for the Badgers at the minute in Super League. Do you get him up top? Maybe drop Henri for one of these two AMCs, get him in there behind Zizi Roberts. Madavikia could potentially offer something a little bit different on that right-hand side if you wanted to get Figo into one of those AMC roles. And again, conditions, nothing massive jumping out other than Figo, but you're on 65 minutes and he's on 80%. He probably won't drop much more than that for the next couple of minutes. Match stats just while we wait for Detroit. They've added one more shot, but they did look a lot more involved in terms of the text. And we shall just give Savage a couple of more seconds. Sav, mate, I haven't seen anything come through. So I am going to hit play in just a second. If you manage to get something in, then we will make them. Just give you 10 more seconds or so here, Sav, and then we will roll. There we go. And he goes Henri swap with Donovan. So he does drop Henri back to AMC. Donovan off for Roberts. And a bit more of a target man up top is what he goes for. So we'll see if Drivetrain can make those changes with a bit more of a target man up top. Certainly Henri is an upgrade on Donovan at AMC. And Zizi just gives a little bit more of an outball to those wingers. And there is Thierry Henry. Just does a little bit, he's definitely got a better pedigree from AMC than he has striker, although he is doing well for the Vikings at the minute. Drivetrain have pulled themselves back into this when all hope seemed lost. The mark of a good side. Those 5s have now disappeared entirely, turned into 7s in Janachera's, 6 in Janachera's case, and a 7 in Marco Luciano's case. Over to a local who really probably, it was just a case of them not really taking their chances when they were on top. And let's just have a look there. So Henri swap for Donovan off for Roberts. Yeah, that's a change I made. Sorry, I was just getting a little bit confused there. Better pedigree as an AMC. There's a striker. Yeah, I mean, he won the Super League with Bern. He won the Super League with Phoenix as an AMC. I think Jens, you're probably the only person that's got a tune out of him as a striker. To be honest with you, mate. Ronaldo up top, Cabello. Gio for Volodenkov. There we go. Nicky Sentinel Noiro, perfect. And then we'll go back over to Drivetrain and we'll see what Savage wants to do there. Again, in terms of the form of the game there, post 60 minutes, you'd be reluctant to change anything if you were Savage. It certainly felt as though they were the team that was on top post 64 minutes when the changes were made. And remember that both managers also have the ability to make their team instruction changes should they so wish. Passing a long ball and done. Thank you very much, Mike. Absolutely great. Lovely. And we will go to, well, either a goal or 120. And again, Drivetrain. Zizi Roberts misses the target there. Oh, Barthez with a big save. This is end-to-end stuff. And there is Thierry Henry, who has saved his manager from from a defeat into a draw and then into a golden goal. And a Local Fire are just one of those teams that cannot buy a bit of luck, just like the Dandies, who were 1-0 up, ended up losing 2-1. And Local Fire also do that. Yeah, Mike has done a golden goal in every game, as Horsey points out. Thierry Henry with a man of the match performance there, and Rivaldo and Neil Scally with the assists do get Drivetrain the victory. What have we got left? Yeah, we'll go with Alcatraz v Vikings over to Alcatraz. Again, one of the few remaining teams with a 100% record, 2 wins out of 2, and Hopkins does not change. And why would he? Over to the Vikings, who don't make any changes as well. Stick with this. I'm more in the MC position with that AMC arrow. And they have so far won 1 and lost 1. Yes, Scotty, I think you're exactly right there, mate. I think he should have been at least 2 up before the equaliser. Absolutely. Absolutely. Predictions in the chat as we go to our penultimate game of the night. Kind of borrow into the book early. There's been a hell of a lot of bookings here tonight, more so than the previous game weeks, I think. 6 minutes played. I'm more there trying to certainly get himself amongst it. Raul misses the target. Virabaya with a big save just before Raul missed the target. Ebi San now catches foul from Nedved, that looked like. Davids, Zanetti. This is end to end again. Fine save from the Vikings keeper. Hell of a lot of Alcatraz text here. Zanetti offside. Alcatraz come again. The post denies Gabriel Batistuta, who has been, I think, much more impressive than anybody expected. Definitely been one of those strikers that's been amongst the text, if not the goals. And we get into half time with a pretty even game, very much an end to end game. Vitabaya, Dragons hero, with an 8 at half time. Nothing else massive there for Alcatraz to be concerned about, really. Pretty solid in terms of where you're at half time. And the Vikings similarly with a spate of 7s and 6s, and Cuenca with a big save. Give Hopkins just a couple of minutes if he's live. So in terms of league table, Jens is probably looking for 3 points here to keep pace with St. Domingo's, but actually Alcatraz have been one of the standout sides this team early doors. And Pavel Brozek, almost as if he knows how much Jens likes him. Hopkins brings on Pavel Brozek, I think, for his debut. Yeah, for his debut, and we'll see if that makes a difference. Jens goes as is until 60 minutes. Brozek now, Desai, Olsen, Mackay in the way there. The referee blowing the whistle, holding this game up. I'm with a big shot. Vitabaya again with another save. 56 minutes played. How are we still at 0-0? Brozek puts it wide, and we get a click before we get a goal. Pablo Aimar on a 5 in that MC position with the AMC arrow, and Fabio Cannavaro went into the boot on the first minute. And we'll see if Jens wants to stick or twist with any of that, really. Condition-wise, nothing standing out. 86, 85 and 89s. And probably Jens maybe goes 2 up top, or changes that AMC to either Aimar or Luis Enrique, I think. Over to Alcatraz, really, really solid again. Certainly at the back, that partnership of Maldini, Keown, and also Vitabaya in there looking very, very solid. Conditions, nothing to worry about. 87, 86, 89, 82 for Davids, but he is one of those players that can absolutely roll with it. We do get a change for Jens, and it is Aimar who's hooked on a 5. Interestingly, the Vikings have just brought Pablo Aimar into the Vikings squad for the Super League. See how that plays out. And Pippo Inzaghi for Gabriel Batistuta, which I think is a really sensible substitution given the age of Batistuta and his ability to make it through 90 minutes. And we will see what happens. Just the personnel changes, no team instruction changes. Could we go in for another leveler at 90 minutes and another golden goal over the bar? And there is Inzaghi and Pippo Inzaghi, Jamie Hopkins, the man with the super sub tonight. Alcatraz still yet to concede a goal in 3 games at this rate, and will be 3 out of 3. Viva Jamie Hopkins. He does get the win, and stats-wise, it looks fairly solid. But to be honest, Vikings were definitely in that, and a massive 10 from Vincent Candaya at DML. And again, Maldini and Keown just doing bits. Martin Keown, what an absolute season 1 legend, up there with the best. 75% kind of tackle rate, and the Vikings just a few too many fives. Quenker tried to do his bit, but Zanoni and also Imar, two big players in this kind of tactical setup, don't manage to do their bit. On to our last game of the night, we have the Memphis Reigns against the Steam Pigs, and the Memphis Reigns go as is. Very inventive, 1-3-3-3 with those three up top. But again, another team that are struggling. One of the four without a win, and we've obviously seen two of the four sides without a win tonight get beat again tonight, and these are the last two remaining sides who also don't have wins. And this is how Steve Wright goes. He brings over his formation and tactic file from the victory against Haggis in Super League at game week 25. The formation, famously, that doesn't work according to popular opinion. And this is how he goes. Certainly two lumps up top with Elburn and Penza being supplied by George Atlas and Contra. Bit of a Northern Burn revival there. Looks a little bit worrying. Haven't seen either in the chat tonight, so this may be a quick game. If it is, our next All-Stars game will be Wednesday night, and that'll be with my good self. Quocom's available if anyone wants to get on. Q on 67. Was the Elias there? Into the book. Contra and Penza. Michielini. The Kata gets in there. Jajatos with half a chance. Steam Pigs very much on top. Header from Crespo. Big save from the Steam Pigs. Steam Pigs chat. Yes, I did tell you they were all fit, mate. I meant as in, yeah, that's my bad. But lesson of the story is fucking access to save yourself or ask for a pack earlier. Memphis Reigns on top, but it felt as though Steam Pigs were a little bit on top in terms of the text, certainly in terms of chances created. And we'll see if Steve takes off Harry Kuehl on 65%. Over at the Memphis Reigns, Rox is prior engaged tonight, so we won't see him. But Crespo and Erigiota, not really doing much there in terms of the ball. And Steve does get the 67% fit Harry Kuehl off for Robbie Keane, who I believe he has just transferred in the Super League as well. And we will go to 60 minutes. Memphis Reigns, who genuinely didn't look on top in terms of the text, but the stats say otherwise. I'll bear with the header, and Steve Wright would have been wishing that his click to goal theory would have came true there. Really, really solid ratings in terms of the defensive players that Steve has, but not necessarily for the players at the offensive end of the pitch. And we'll see if he makes any changes on 60 minutes. 85% is his lowest rate of fitness. Fitness is a myth. Steve Wright, definitely one of those people that believe fitness is a myth. Be interesting to see if we get the extension on the arrows for the DML and DMR, or if he just rolls as is. Over at Memphis Reigns, we're not going to make any changes for Rox, as there's nothing massive going on there. Conditions absolutely fine, and performances are solid, if unspectacular. And the keeper in the middle of the pack, as Rox likes to do for his tactics and his formations, really not disgracing himself. Lawson fucking Steers subbing the sub. Subbing the sub. Lawson for Keane. 3 up top. Lawson central arrow on Raquelme to AMC. There we go. And we will see how that goes to full time. Both sides without a win. They obviously both can't lose tonight. Unlucky for El Loco and Dandies. But they could probably take us to 120 minutes as a 0-0. And that would be the saddest indictment to both of their seasons so far. Nakata shoots with a big save, feels as though Steam Pigs are just coming into this a little bit more now when Penza puts it over. And Penza tries to bury it, Contra. Nakata, it's all been Steam Pigs since 64 minutes. Valtellina, can they steal one? Lawson, George Atos, and Penza, Elbert, all the names he wants to see. Henrik Lawson can't miss. The sub of the sub gets the winner, and Steam Pigs get off the winless streak with a hell of a lot of chances created. To be fair to Steve, that Henrik Lawson sub does have an impact, and George Atos with the man of the match 10 performance. Over to the Memphis Reigns, 8 6s and 7s, and Steve Wright will take that every day of the week. Silver goal winner, good shout, Dims. as we get to full time. So here's the classifieds tonight. Alcatraz ran out 1-0 winners against the Vikings with a sub from Hopkins doing the business for Batistuta. St. Domingos took it really late against Des Moines, who put in a really spirited performance against a strong side, and that man Pierre carrying over his small horse form into the All-Stars. Drivetrain with the extra time goal to remain or to keep a local fire on 0 points after 3 games. Gators came back from 1-0 down. Van Nistelrooy going off injured made them a hell of a lot better with a Mark Viduka goal and Sebastian Veron winner as Dandies remain winless. Pelham edged one against the Short Pump Sloths. Really, really interesting for the neutral. That really good performance from Pelham with Lassisi getting the winner. And then Steam Pigs broke their barren spell, scoring, keeping a clean sheet, and jump out of that pack of winless teams at the bottom. And Memphis Reigns remain there with a Sab Lawson goal. This is how we look in terms of the groups. Conference Eastern, 3 out of 3 for Domingos, Drivetrain on 7, Vikings on 3, and Memphis Reigns yet to get off the mark. In terms of Central, really interestingly, we have 2 sides drawn a blank so far, both with identical records, 1 goal scored and 7 goals conceded. And in terms of the Western, we have Short Pump, Gators, Des Moines and Steam Pigs, all off the mark, all with at least 1 win, and looking a really close run thing this game. So that concludes game week 3 for the All-Stars. Cheers, boys, for joining us. Happy Sunday. Hope you have a great week. I am off on half term to do absolutely fuck all. Good night.